A torn ACL for Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs out of the playoffs for the first time in years. Nothing is inevitable anymore, Nick. That's what I am coming to terms with. The dynasty for the Chiefs, is it over now that we have Patrick Mahomes tearing his ACL and it's also his LCL? We got reports that he went down to Dallas and he got surgery right away. And that's normally because the LCL, that's the longer recovery. People are still thinking that it can be a 9-month-ish recovery for Patrick Mahomes. Will he be ready for next season? Does he even play next season? And with 3 meaningless games left for the Kansas City Chiefs, what do you do right now? Currently sitting around the 11th pick in the NFL draft. Do they just decide to, pack it in? Maybe potentially get a top 5 draft pick and get yourself an offensive weapon. So when Mahomes is ready to come back again, they're ready to run it back. Is this the script? Is this what we're looking at?
Is the dynasty over? I'm going to have to say no. I hate that I'm saying that because, there was a 10-year gap between the Patriots' 2 Super Bowls. They kind of went in clumps. Did make the Super Bowl twice, obviously, in there and lost to the Giants. But 10-year gap, and that whole thing is considered kind of to be the dynasty. Why? Because Tom Brady was the guy. So as much as I hate it, as much as this does bring me joy, not the injury so much as the Chiefs missing the playoffs, like that is a very nice feeling. I can't sit here and confidently tell you the dynasty is over because they missed the playoffs one time. Now, when it comes to the Mahomes situation, we'll have to see what the timetable on the injury looks like. My expectation is that he'll probably be like a week 2, week 3 start. That's my guess. I don't think they're going to push him.
Best case scenario, personally.
Yeah, I think he's going to want to get out there as soon as he possibly can, but I don't think they're going to push him if it's too early. And with the LCL, I just am now learning that. My guess is it will be a little bit into the season, about that quarter of the way, week 4-ish mark. And I think that the Chiefs will be able to recover from that. And speaking of recovery, this is a point I think a couple people have brought up, but a lot of fans aren't necessarily talking about. The Chiefs are now going to have the longest offseason they've had in how long, right?
A decade.
Decade. There are literal concerns, very real concerns around Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, even Andy Reid.
Yeah.
And I do think that's probably the biggest hookup on the whole dynasty question is, like, Mahomes will be there. Who's going to be his coach? That's a very big deal, I would say. But the rest of the program, there's certainly some question marks. But it's going to come down to, like, they are going to have they got a lot longer offseason, right? And they are probably going to have a better draft pick. Like, don't count them out. It's still the Chiefs. The Chiefs is the Chiefs, as they say.
Yeah, they've been picking 28 to 32 for the last, decade. So, the fact that they might have a top 10 draft pick this year could literally change their entire franchise in 1 to 2 seasons, depending on how next year looks like as well. You bring up the Patriots and the fact that, comparing Mahomes and Brady, and that's always been a thing, comparing their careers. And you talk about how maybe you don't think the dynasty is over because, 10 years separation between Super Bowls. Mahomes still going to be the quarterback for the Chiefs. Brady was still the quarterback in the Patriots in the second time around. History is repeating itself again. If you look at it, both Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes suffered torn ACLs in their 9th NFL season. Both ACL injuries came the year after losing a Super Bowl as well, with both quarterbacks already having won 3 Super Bowls prior to that. The script is just getting recycled. That's what's happening. But no, it's insane that how similar these careers are looking between Brady and Mahomes. We'll see if that continues. You're right about Andy Reid. A lot of questions if he decides to stick around. Does Travis Kelce, does he decide to retire? Right? I don't know if you saw the video of him walking into the locker room after the loss and kind of gave those 2 little knocks on the door. Usually that kind of means you've realized that it might be time. It might be time to start the new eras tour, if you will, for Travis Kelce. There, I did that. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, interesting stuff here. I'm really excited. So what would you say about the Chiefs here? Would you say that 6-8 on the season? Do you pack it up? Do you just say, okay, look, we have the Titans, Cam Ward, we got the Broncos, who are right now seen as the number 1 seed in the AFC. And then we finished the season against the Raiders. Those obviously are right now, even with Gardner Minshew as your quarterback, you could win 2 of those games. Maybe you lose against the Broncos, but you could beat the Titans, you could beat the Raiders. But when you're looking for the future, this ownership, this front office is obviously smart. They've been in the playoff conversation. They've been in the playoffs since every year since 2014. when you know you're already out of it, do you just punt the rest of the way?
I mean, I hate to say it, yeah. Like they're not probably going to, but I think that's the smart play. There just isn't any reason. It's not like the Vikings, right? Like the rest of the year for the Vikings is actually they're not meaningful games from the playoff standpoint, but JJ McCarthy, 9,
Yeah.
as you say, like very meaningful reps. These are free reps for next season against a live NFL defense, against teams that are actually it's not the preseason, right? Like these are legit NFL defenses. This is a perfect opportunity for the Vikings to allow some development. The Chiefs, like Mahomes isn't in. Like, what are we? No, there's literally zero incentive to win these games. Now, will they? Maybe. Yeah, I think they're going to go out there and they're going to play some football, but don't expect like if they're up 7 points. I don't know, man. I think their play calling is going to be questionable at best. It's like let them get back into the game if they are able to. I think that's what you're going to see from the Chiefs the rest of the way.
Yeah, running the football on 3rd and 11 just to punt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's possible. Yeah. If Mahomes misses extended time because of this injury, if it lingers, right? Maybe this injury.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though, is the linger. Because if he comes back early and he's not 100%, look, this isn't college ball, but like this is still like this is the pros. But the linger. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, that's not the Cranberries song, although you might be talking about that as well. I think the ripple effects go way beyond Kansas City if that happens, though. Like if he misses extended time, if the injury does linger, like that, there is a big catastrophic waterfall effect that happens across the AFC and the NFL if this happens for the Kansas City Chiefs. We have seen the Chiefs at the very tippy top of the mountain for the last decade. And we kind of saw it kind of happen in a waterfall effect when Brady left for the Bucks, and it happened with New England. Not as much that I think that if this lingers for Mahomes, where it's still in his prime, where it's still in him trying to get himself to being seen as the greatest of all time, or whatever the case you want to make for him, if it doesn't happen, then could you imagine what the ripple effects are going to be across the rest of the league?
Oh, they're going to be, yeah. Anything. This is like when Alabama and Nick Saban separated. Like, the biggest coaching butterfly, effect of all time. Like that's because the best to ever do it step down. Like when the Chiefs, anything with the Chiefs changes, there's going to be a massive effect. The biggest question actually that I have on this whole thing is with the Chiefs now, the way I see it is that the Chiefs are at a lower level of power than they have been. Now, does that mean that they're out of the picture, out of relevance? No. They're still in this thing, but they are much lower on the totem pole than they've been. I would argue even your Bills are higher than the Chiefs right now. A little bit of a rough stretch there, but did beat the Patriots. So the question for me is who takes over that spot? Who do you think not necessarily becomes the next dynasty, but I do feel like there's so much parity in the NFL right now. Is there a team like next season that like the Eagles, remember 2 years ago, were just phenomenal. Like they just could not be beat. They had the tush push in their back pocket. It felt like whatever they wanted to have happen could happen. That's how the Chiefs have felt for the last 10 years. Whatever the Chiefs want will happen. That's their thing. The Patriots had that. Who is next? I don't know. I don't want to go Bills, but Josh Allen is kind of that guy.
Yeah, it could be the Bills, could be the Patriots. I mean, statistically, it could be the Broncos. I don't see that happening, but I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen, and it could maybe be in the NFC, right? We just said it with the Eagles. Could be an NFC team, but right now it seems like all the good quarterbacks, for the most part, the up and comers on the AFC side. We're going to enter a playoff where there's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no Joe Burrow, and there's potentially no Lamar Jackson. That is an insane AFC, just AFC side.
First playoff without Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, or Patrick Mahomes since 1998 was the stat that I saw.
98. That was a year, by the way, if you didn't know that. 98. Absolutely.
I was yet to be born the last time one of those three quarterbacks was not in the playoffs.
So this is a first for you. Look at that. You're seeing history literally happen right before your eyes.